Hi everyone, I chose chapter 1 closing case as my case to do for this very first presentation. So a little bit of background. East Coast Yachts. East Coast Yachts was founded in 1969 by Tom Warren. It was founded in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. It is currently a sole proprietorship. However, they're thinking about switching to either an LLC or a corporation. And that is because Tom is stepping down to pass his East Coast Yachts business on to Larissa. So they currently specialize in manufacturing custom mid-size high-performance yachts. They do have a reputation right now for safety, reliability, and high customer satisfaction rates. So the main issue here is that the custom yacht industry is fragmented. No manufacturer dominates the market. Tom Warren's daughter, Larissa, needs assistance managing and directing the company's growth. She has never done this before. She's taken it over from Tom. So they want to do a sole proprietorship or a LLC. They want to take a look at which one would be better for their business at this current state. So for a sole proprietorship, it's really going to be the easiest business to form. There's not really any paperwork to fill out. Pretty sure that's what they have right now is the sole proprietorship, and they're wanting to transfer to a LLC or a corporation, depends on which one's better. Anyway, again, sole proprietorship has no corporate income tax, so they won't have to worry about paying extra income tax that they might not even have spare money to pay when they've been used to running a sole proprietorship. So unlimited personal liability. That's one of the major factors in having a sole proprietorship. It's limited by the life of the proprietor. Now, this can be a good or bad thing. I think that in East Coast Yachts case, it probably is a bad thing because if something happens to Tom or Larissa, the company is just gonna cease to exist, the proprietorship. So they might want to rethink being a sole proprietorship just due to that factor alone. And they don't really have any ability to raise equity money compared to the other two forms. It's going to be a lot harder. Really, because it's tied into their personal finances. So, LLC. If they choose to become an LLC, there'll be a limited liability corporation. The liability is limited to the investment amount, and it's not tied to their personal finances, so Larissa can keep everything separate with East Coast Yachts and her personal life. It can have single or multiple members. My impression was that Tom was stepping down and handing it over to Larissa. I don't know if Larissa will have another partner in this or not, but she could under LLC. You're going to have increased paperwork with the LLC just to form it and to maintain it. And that paperwork is going to come with a higher cost as well. And lastly, they do have the ability to raise equity money easier than with a sole proprietorship. Moving on to the advantages of switching to a LLC, why would East Coast Yachts want to switch? Well, they're a separate legal entity and no personal liability. Again, that liability is going to be directly on Larissa unless she forms a LLC or a corporation. Ability to build business credit or raise capital much easier than with a sole proprietorship. With the LLC, they can retain the tax benefits of self-employment, so they won't be getting taxed as if they're a corporation. Now, owners can share decision-making and appoint a manager if they want to. So again, she could have a manager or another owner in with the LLC if she wanted to. Now, moving on to the disadvantages of switching to a LLC. There's going to be more paperwork to file to form the LLC to begin with. One owner has the final say on all decisions. Again, this can be a good or bad. However, if Larissa wants to bring another partner in, then she's going to have to be okay, or the other owner is going to have to be okay with the fact that Larissa would have the final say on all decisions. Ongoing fees. There's going to be annual fees and reports that they're going to have to pay that they wouldn't have to pay with the sole proprietorship. They're going to have more complicated tax filing forms with the LLC, and it's going to be harder to dissolve if needed. Now, this can be a good or bad thing. If something happens to Larissa, it's still going to be around compared to the sole proprietorship. It would kind of just fall apart. So the advantages of switching to a corporation. The advantages will be that the common stock can be listed on a stock exchange. It gives a broad latitude on dividend payout decisions. Shareholders won't be personally liable for anything, just like the LLC. Perpetual life. Now, this is probably the best thing, would be the corporation. If the corporation wants to keep on, or the business wants to keep on living after Larissa and Tom. And now it's easiest to raise capital with a corporation. So if East Coast Yachts needs more money, then being a corporation is going to be probably one of the best things for them to do. Now, corporations have double taxation, and I'm not sure Larissa wants to take on the full responsibility of becoming a corporation when she's just taken over from Tom. They're going to have to pay taxes on income and dividends. This is going to be the most costly and time-consuming to form. Now, there's potential for internal conflict with shareholders. Not sure she wants to bring shareholders in, but if she wanted to, then corporation would be the best. She's going to have stricter regulations she has to stick to if she's going to form the corporation. These laws are ones that really don't apply to sole proprietorships, so she would definitely have to wait taking on some of those regulations if she really wanted to be a corporation. And finally, there is a higher burden of regular paperwork, filing, and legal formalities. Her tax returns, her taxes, her paperwork is going to be a lot more serious and regulated with a corporation compared to if she just stays a sole proprietorship or a LLC. So lastly, overall, my recommendation for East Coast Yachts. So I definitely think they should make the switch from sole proprietorship to LLC. LLC is not going to be such a big jump as if they were to go from sole proprietorship to a corporation. This is going to benefit them in a few ways. The first way is greater flexibility and fewer formalities. So they're going to gain a little bit of flexibility that they wouldn't have with the sole proprietorship, but it's going to be less formal and less regulated than going straight to a corporation. Larissa can maintain ownership. She doesn't have to. Well, I don't even know that there's a real need for stocks at this time, so she doesn't have to deal with shareholders or worry about losing some kind of ownership or say in the business compared to if she would go straight to a corporation. LLC is probably the best for her to do at this time. She's going to avoid the strict regulations and paperwork again, or the cost to form the corporation. She's still going to have a bit of paperwork and such, little bit of cost to form the LLC, but not as much as corporation. She's still going to benefit from that limited liability. I think that's the main thing that she's probably going to get out of switching to an LLC. And lastly, she can avoid corporate taxes. So, in general, I think she should do the LLC, and that'll give her a little bit more flexibility than what she has with the sole proprietorship.